Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me again today on this exciting new topic that we have. It's all about the evolution of the Igbo rule in the traditional modern Igbo society. In other words, how can the Igbo chieftaincy and the rule of our men of the Igwe palace and the chieftaincy men have to revolve themselves in the new Igbo modern society? So today we have to break it down for you so that you can have a better understanding and how the revolving have been happening around the Igbo modern day society. Like I always tell you, don't forget to always subscribe to our channel, and please, if you're coming across this channel for the first time, please do well to also subscribe and make sure that you drop your comment in the comment section. We have a very long write-up, an article well written by one of our brother to dish out to you people so that you understand the metamorphosis of the Igbo race. You understand? He titled it "The Suit, the Staff, and the Soul, the Metamorphosis of the Igbo Kingship." And I read, in the rolling hills of Enugu and the ancient river banks of Onitsha, a quiet but profound revolution is unfolding. In other words, a revolution is being unfolding right before our very eyes, but we are not yet to pay attention to it. The Igbo Traditional Institute, once thought by colonists to be headless because of the fancy democratic nature of the Igbo people, has proven to be one of the most resistant structure in African history. Today, the role of the traditional ruler, the Eze, the Igwe, or the Obi, is no longer just about sitting on a carved throne. It is a high-stake balancing act between ancestral mandates and the digital age. In other words, a generation has come up to see the light. That is no longer how they thought it, that the Igbo traditional ruling and the kingdom of Igbo race is no longer the way the white men taught it in our society. It's no longer about sitting on a wooden carved throne to address what things are happening or how things do happen or how things are happening. It is about you now paying attention to know that the Igbo race is on a high stake of balancing the act between the ancestral mandate and the digital age that we are in today. And I read, the ancestral blueprint, power driven from the soil. He wrote, to understand the weight of an Igbo ruler, one must understand the concept of Allah, the earth. In the ancient Igbo worldview, authorities was never absolute. It was a sacred trust. The ruler was the mouthpiece of the ancestors, tasked with ensuring that the community lived in harmony with the natural and spiritual law of the land. So it is not about being a ruler alone. When you come to the Igbo race, the Igbos regarded the ancient kings as the mouthpiece of the ancestors. So what they see and what they speak stands. This is what this paragraph is trying to teach us. He says that the offer made from the branches of the sacred doctrine Senegalese tree. In other words, in Igbo language, we call it Ogirisi. But them, they call it a Senegalese tree, served as the ultimate check and balance. It represented truth, justice, and the link of the forefathers. A ruler who stayed from the path of righteousness faces the ultimate social death. The withdrawal of the people's recognition. This heritage of accountability is what modern Igbo society is desperately trying to provide as it navigates the milky waters of contemporary politics. In other words, there is a politics being played in the Igbo race now to talk about the kingdom, the rules, and the Eze and the Igwe in council generally. Follow me on this epic epistle, because we are going to unfold how everything happened in the Igbo race and how to check and balance it in our society today. Like I said, if you are joining us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to drop your comment in the comment section as we read further. The colonial shadow and the warrant era. The evolution we see today is deeply sacred by the colonial era. The British, confused by the Igbo system of village republic and elder council, created the warrant chiefs, men who were given power by decree rather than by the consciousness of the Umunna. This created a historical friction that still exists today. The tension between a ruler who is chosen by the people and the one who is colonized by the government. Modern society is currently grappling with its own duality. When a traditional ruler received a car or a salary from the state government, does his primary loyalty remain with his ancestors and his people, or does he become an extension of the state political machineries? The modern dilemma, the tradition in a borderless world. The 21st century has brought challenges that the ancestors could never have ever envisioned. The digital divide. How does an Igwe maintain the mystique of the palace when his subjects are filming him on smartphones? The evolution rule means moving from a figure of a mystery to a figure of transparency. Today, an Eze might have more subjects living in London, Houston, or Johannesburg than in his own village. The throne has become a global anchor. Rulers are now using Zoom to settle land dispute between brothers living in different continents, and they are traveling abroad to perform the Ewaji, the New Yam Festival. Ceremonies to ensure that Igbo children born in the West do not lose their chi, personal spirit, or their language. With the rise of Pentecostal churches, many traditional rites are viewed through a lens of suspicion. The modern ruler must be a master of secretism, finding way to honor the ancient Omenala without aligning with the Christians' majority. Perhaps the most sufficient evolution is the shift from the rule to developer. In a modern Nigeria where the central government is often distant, the traditional ruler has become the primary advocate for his community. Today, the Igwe is likely to be a retired professor, a former general, or a successful CEO. They use their old boys network to attract investors, build health clinic, and lobby for electricity. They have transformed the palace from a court law into a boardroom of community progress. They are the gatekeepers who ensure that modernity does not arrive at a cost of identity. The Igbo society is a step through of many threads. The traditional ruler is in the middle that weaves those threads together. As long as there is an Igbo person who feels the pull of the red earth, there will be a need for a custodian to guide the gate. This long story of the Igwe rule is not to the decline, but to detain adoption. This is a story of people who refuse to choose between their past and their future, choosing instead to carry both in their hands, the offer and the other one, the blueprint of the new city. I read this last line very well for us to understand. He says, the long story of the Igbo ruler is not the one to decline, but the distance adoption. It is the story of a people who refuse to choose between their past and their future, choosing instead to carry in their hands the offer in one and the blueprint of a new city in the other one. That is how the Igbo rule has revolved over the years. I hope you find this story very interesting. Don't forget to subscribe and share our video for next exclusive topic. See you guys next time.